Hello, I thought I would record a meditation that has been very useful to me in setting out on my own journey. And if you haven't heard of this book, The Inner Guide Meditation, I know it's probably going to come up backwards, but The Inner Guide Meditation by Edwin C Steinbrecher. It is absolutely fantastic for helping you to contact your inner guide, and I mean your true inner guide, not some being masquerading as an inner guide, which can happen when you set out on your journey. So I'm just going to read directly from the book, and it includes a meditation, and there are specific things that you need to do in your imagination. So when I tell you to do that, visualize yourself doing that, and I think you won't go far wrong. How to contact the inner guide. When contacting your inner guide for the first time, try not to make it hard or think that you can't do it. A psychological state of ease and relaxation is helpful, though not necessary for the experience. Sit in a comfortable, straight-backed chair with your spine erect and both feet flat on the floor. Separate the two sides of your body. Don't have your arms or legs crossed, with your thighs parallel to the floor and your hands resting lightly on the thighs, palms up and open. Or if you prefer, sit on the floor in a yoga position if that's the way you like to meditate. There seems to be a specific motion, sequence or movement of the mind that gets you most easily to your guide. It is forward, then left, and then right. A movement of forward, left and left tends to bring the false guide. The following visual sequence used for the initial guide contact is one that has evolved through trial and error over the years. If it doesn't work easily for you, accept a structure that your own unconscious presents to you, or invent your own, but utilise the forward, left and right movement. There is no way to do it wrong if you follow these instructions. So if you are sitting comfortably in a high, straight-backed chair with feet on the floor, close your eyes and we'll begin. Close your eyes and invent a cave around you, as if you have just walked into the cave and the entrance is at your back. Allow the cave to structure itself as it will, large or small, well lighted or dim, smooth-walled or rough. Try to be like a blank film, receiving impressions. Accept these impressions uncritically as they come to you from this environment. Try not to edit what comes. Be as sensory as you can. Is the cave moist or dry? Feel the weight of your body as you stand on the cave floor. What kind of floor are you standing on? feel it with your feet? Is it flat and smooth, or rough and uneven? Feel the texture of the floor underneath your feet. Is it sandy, rocky, or gravelly? Feel the air around you. Are there currents, or is the air still? Smell the air and notice the colour impressions that come to you. Use all of your senses. Be sure that you are observing and sensing this environment while being in your body, looking out through your eyes. Don't be watching an image of yourself. Should you find yourself watching an image, get back into your body, keeping the point of view of your own eyes. If at any time during the meditation you do find yourself watching your own image, return to the viewpoint of your body until it becomes habit. Feeling the touch of your feet on the ground in the inner world. And the weight of your body on your feet. This will help keep you in your body, as does the active use of any of your senses, such as touching something and feeling what it feels like. Keeping the point of view of your own eyes and body is one of the most important aspects of the inner guide meditation. When you can feel yourself in the cave, even though things may still be vague at this point, move forward and to the left, away from the entrance, further into the cave, and find some kind of doorway or opening there on the left that will lead you out into a landscape. Take whatever comes uncritically and move through the aperture presented by the unconscious. Take a step out onto the landscape when it appears, feeling the new type of ground under your feet. Is it soft or hard? Grassy or rocky? What is around you? What is the scene like? Let all these impressions come to you and let them solidify. What seems to be in the distance? What is the weather like? Be there as totally as you can. Then, with your mind, call for an animal to come to you. Let it be an animal you don't know, not a pet or some other animal that you already know. Not a fantasy animal. When the animal appears, ask the animal to lead you off to the right where your inner guide awaits you. Concentrate on following the animal, trying not to anticipate the guide. If the animal appears to meander or stops, give it permission to take you directly to the feet of your guide. If you lose sight of the animal or the scene, will yourself back to the point where you last saw the animal or scene and allow the action to continue from there. The animals that appear come in all varieties. Take whatever animal first comes to you and trust it to be able to lead you to your inner guide. The animal will lead you to the feet of an unknown male figure, your first guide. The initial inner guide for both men and women is an unknown male figure. You will generally feel an outpouring of love, protection, and total acceptance from the figure. I want you to start receiving impressions about the figure. Begin with the feet. Are his feet bare or in some kind of footwear? Then slowly work up the body, allowing impressions of what the figure is like to come to you uncritically. Again, as if you were a blank film. What kind of dress or costume is he wearing? What type of body does he have? Is he fat or thin? Is he tall or short? What kind of hair, if any, does he have? If the figure is hooded, ask him to throw back the hood. Is he wearing anything on his head? Is he bearded or clean shaven? What kind of feeling about him do you get? Is he active or passive? gentle and introverted, or extroverted and outgoing? Is he dressed in the clothing of any particular occupation, trade, or time period? Any particular country or region of the world? Does he hold anything in his hands? Let all of these impressions come to you as they will. Don't try to see the guide's face clearly right away unless it presents itself easily. One of the hallmarks of the true inner guide is that his face isn't usually clear at first. The true guide's face will clear and come into focus later as you work with him in the meditation process, when you stop trying to make him a face. Be sure to ask the figure if he is your true guide and if he has the power to protect you in the inner realms. Generally, a false guide will answer no to this question or will disappear. Then ask the figure to take both of your hands in his. Feel the hand contact as much as you can. Feel the texture of the skin. Is his hand warm or cool, moist or dry? Is the skin smooth or rough? Now, with your mind, give him your permission to let you feel his feeling for you. If you don't feel total acceptance and love or caring, you're with a false guide. There is no love from a false guide. Then ask your guide to take your right hand in his left, so that you're both facing in the same direction. The guide at your side. Ask your guide then to point to where the sun is in the sky of your inner world. Look to where he points. Is the sun right overhead or off to one side? Are there clouds, or does it shine in a clear sky? At the point where you ask the guide to point to the sun, a false or ego guide will generally balk, try to change the subject, divert attention in some way, hedge, or will simply vanish. Test for his love again. If he remains, your doubts are stirred. If you cannot feel it, stay where you are and look to the right of where the false guide is or was. Another male figure will be there, or at least nearby. Feel where the love energy comes to you from and creates a warmth in your chest, and look in that direction. If you happened to get a false guide, your true inner guide is close by, and if you call for him and give him your permission to come, you will probably see him quickly. Don't accept any known person from your outer world as your inner guide. Your guide is a being who wasn't alive on the planet when you were born. So if your favourite uncle or father or current president appears, keep looking past him to the right. If a famous deceased guru from the past should appear, test him and see if another figure appears beyond him on the right. The inner guides are always human and do not have the powers or attributes of gods. If a sea serpent or a fairy or an angel claims to be your guide, move past it and to the right until your true guide is encountered. After your guide takes your hand and points out where the sun is and you see it, ask the sun to come down in human or human-like form to where you and your guide are. Accept the first form that it takes. It may come as male or female. It might be a man with a bird's head or a swirling mass of colours and energy in humanoid form. Try not to preconceive what the sun, as it exists in your inner world, is going to look like. Let it be what it will. The sun is the archetype of the centre of the self, the love-giving, life-sustaining, creative energy that animates each of us and gives life and motion to the other archetypal forces we carry within us. Our true inner guide generally delights in the initial solar contract. Even if the sun energy in your particular horoscopic pattern is weak or repressed, the guide will do all in his power to bring you into contact with this central solar figure so you can begin the assimilation of this vital energy. When you and your inner guide are together with the sun figure, direct your attention to the sun and ask it to send as much light and love into you as you can physically handle at this particular time. Try to absorb the energy as it comes into you. Try not to resist it. It is at this point that most people realize that something real and unusual is happening and that they're not making it up. The experience of light and love from the sun can be overwhelming, generating tears of joy, and is the first inner world experience of a non-ego archetypal force. Ask the figure to literally touch you with its hands or with a directed ray that will penetrate any blockages and allow you to feel the energy flow. If you would like to work with one of the 22 tarot archetypes, pick one now. And imagine that archetype in front of you. And ask, what do you need from me and from my life to work with me and be my friend? And you can also ask, what do you have to give me that I need from you? Ask for a symbolic object to be placed in your hand and accept the first object that appears. Use your senses and feel the object. Is it round or square, hollow or solid? What material is it made of? Is it large or small, heavy or light? When you are clear what the object is, ask the archetypal figure to interpret what talent, ability or power that object represents. And if it is a tool, how can you use it? What effects can it produce in the inner world, in the outer world? And how can you utilize it in your daily life? These gifts from the archetypes represent talents and abilities you were born with, and energy forms given to you. You receive the gift in symbol or code form, and it may need to be decoded afterwards. I want you to remember all the symbols, all the imagery, everything that you've experienced. Bring it back with you into the present moment. If you have a pen and paper with you, write down as much as you can remember. And after 3, you will be back in the present moment, wide awake and raring to go. 1, 2, 3. Wide awake and in the room. And I'll see you next time for another meditation.